Welcome to the Go Big and Go Home show. My name's Dustin Hill, and I'm here to help you discover and stick to your dreams while deepening the connections with those you love. Hey, it's Dustin Hill, and I'm so excited to be back. And I know some of you are wondering, like, Dustin, where have you been? It's been a couple weeks. And you know what? I thought that I was totally on track. So I actually have 2 episodes that I just totally forgot to upload because we were going to be going on vacation and stuff. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to get a few done ahead of time. And I guess I just forgot to upload them because I checked today. I'm like, wait, what happened? I missed 2 weeks. I'm like, oh no, I just didn't upload them. So sorry about that. If you're listening live, then you got to go back and listen to a couple more. But they're awesome. So there's a couple other interviews from the Summer Survival Summit. And that's what we're going to be talking about today as well. So an interview that was done on the summit. And just, the last piece of that where I ask about the Go Big and Go Home show and why, how are you able to go big in life? And what Maja talks about a little bit. I'll just get into that and then you can listen to that. But is the power of going all in. And so I want you to think about that for a minute. Are you going all in? Like when you're doing something, are you fully committed to it? So back in March, the end of March, I did my very first challenge. It was called the Phone Down Challenge. And so it was all about learning, how do you put down your phone? How do you have a better relationship with your phone? And learning things like, is it more important like what you're doing on your phone or how much time? And if you're curious, it's actually more about like how the things that you're doing on your phone, right? So the amount of time actually doesn't matter as much because if you think about it, so think about what you're doing when you're on your phone and how you're feeling, okay? So scenario 1, you pull out your phone, you're bored, you're not really sure what to do. You go to notifications, right? You scroll through and you see things that are interesting, you go comment on something else, and then you go to your feed and you start scrolling. And you start scrolling. You keep scrolling and scrolling, right? And it keeps going. And after a while, like, how are you feeling at this point? You're like, I'm still kind of bored, right? Or like, oh, that was kind of funny, but like you keep scrolling, you're not feeling good, right? As opposed to if you go on your phone and you are like with an intention to actually go and make a difference, right? To, hey, I want to comment on someone that I haven't seen. I want to wish them a happy birthday. I want to do something like this. Oh, I have this business thing that I'm working on. Let me go do that, like learn about this. And, when you have a different like onset of what you're doing and an intention for what you're doing, then that's really what matters, And so that's just a little tidbit. But one of the parts of the Phone Down Challenge was really being present, right? So we've all been in the scenario where we're sitting down at the table and we're talking to our friends, our family, and are all sitting there around the table. And then the conversation dies down for a minute. And nowadays it seems like we're all like in this mode of we always have to be entertained. We always have to have information. We have to have something going on. If it's silent, it's like, okay, what's our go-to? A lot of people's go-to, right, is to pull out your phone. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, let me pull out my phone. So one person pulls out the phone and then, the person across from them does. And then pretty soon there's this table of everyone sitting around and everyone's just on their phones. So there's a group of awesome people that love each other, that care about each other, they want to be with each other, and yet they're there just on their phones, right? And so, that's something that I talked about in the Phone Down Challenge of, what? If you're going to be with people, you should actually be with people, right? Learn to do that. And I was talking to my aunts who were part of the challenge as well. And they just said, the other day, they're like, yeah, we still remember that, Dustin. Like, hey, Dustin, like, hey guys, remember Phone Down Challenge, put your phones down and let's do that, And so it was, it's fun to hear that, from them, but it's also just one of those things that, again, it's all about being committed and about going all in and about really saying, hey, you know what? This is the thing that I'm doing right now. So I'm going to do this thing really, really well, and it reminds me also of just the importance of, if you're working on leaving your 9 to 5, for instance, Dean Graziosi, he talked about this, how you really need to go all in on your 9 to 5. And I think a lot of people are like, what? Why would I do that? Like, I'm trying to leave that. But the thing is, our energy plays off of each other, right? So if we are committed and working super hard at our job and doing the very best that we can, we come home, with more energy, or we stay home, depending on if you're still working from home. I am. But, I leave the office like, oh, hey, like I'm feeling awesome. Right. And so that energy can carry on to the other things that you're doing. Right. And the same with, your side project and the thing that you're building up. Having and going all in there can really help you to have that energy for everything else that you're doing as well. And so that's what I love. And that's what this whole show is about, right? Is like really going big in life, in your business, and at home too. So in everything that you want to do. And I'm super excited as well, just a little foreshadowing here, about being able to talk about Dr. Ben Hardy. So he has this book, Personality Isn't Permanent. And I love the book. I'm like, not even to the first chapter yet, and I already love it. But it's so cool to learn about how you can change and you can totally control what you want. And I'm super excited to have him on the show as well, to be able to ask him about this, because he had, just real quick, he had 5 kids within 1 year, which sounds crazy, right? But they actually adopted 3 foster kids, and then they had twins, and this was all within the same year. And, he goes into that and how he had to change, and how the Ben Hardy, when they first came, wasn't ready for that, right? And he changed. But I'm just super excited to be able to talk to him about that too, and be like, well, how have you been able to be really successful? So he's a PhD entrepreneur, and he has 5 kids, and is, really tries to do really well at home too. And anyways, just super cool, because I think there's a lot of people out there that just believe that you really can't, be super successful in both of those areas, right? Of life and your business, right? And I just think that that's totally false. Like, I totally believe that all of us can be super successful in the thing that we love, like the thing that we do for work or whatever, but also at home. And to me, I don't feel like you're truly successful if you don't do both of those things. If I was going to err on one side or the other, I would totally err on the side of home, because work in the end, it's not going to matter as much. But I feel like for me, I am going to be a much better parent as I'm fulfilled in the things that I'm doing. And that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this podcast, and I'm helping you, trying to share these things and uplifting things as well, is because I want you to be uplifted. I want you to be able to do that. And that really gets me going. That makes me feel great. And I'm also on a mission to really understand, what does it take to leave your 9 to 5 in this situation where you have your kids? You can't just leave, but what does it take? And so that's what I'm doing. And, every morning working towards that, and super excited to be able to share some of these things, as we get closer. But, it's really fun, and I feel so much more fulfilled. I feel like such a better, parent as well. And as I'm on this entrepreneurial journey as well, I feel like it's forcing me to continue to learn, to continue to grow, and make myself that much better. And so that's why I just love it. I mean, I was even thinking about that today. I was just listening to something and just like, man, this is all just pushing me to be a better person. And in the end, no matter what, that's what it all comes down to, right? Is in your business, you really are going to be as successful as you are as a person. But truthfully, if you think about it, I'm in software right now. I do mobile apps. And one of the biggest things that people have pointed out to me of why they love working with me is because of the communication. And, it's like, wait, that's not code, right? But the fact that if they send an email, if they're asking about something, that I'll respond really quickly, that I'll get back to them, that I'm good to work with, like all these things, that's the thing that they care about. And you think about it, but like, oh, but you're a software engineer, like that shouldn't matter. But in the end, we all work with people, right? We do technical things, maybe not technical things, but in the end, we do have to work with people as well. And so all I'm trying to say here is that, as a person, that working on yourself is totally going to pay dividends in any aspect of your life. It will at home, it will at work, it will at church, anywhere, right? And so as you become a better person, it's, you're just better. Right? Isn't that kind of what we want? So anyways, so I'm going to roll this interview. It's from Maja Watkins. She is from Zip Zap Zop Enrichment. And so what's just a brief thing about her. So she does improv with kids, and she's found that that's actually a really beneficial way for them to, have more joy, to be able to, experience go through trauma and things like that too, to be able to get past some of those things. And it was really fun to have that interview with her. But again, she goes into that all in idea. And so I hope you really enjoy that, and go check out her stuff as well. And with that, I hope that everything you're doing is continue to push you to go big at home and in your life. So thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you next time. And so my next question, I've got two more. So as host of the recently released, podcast, the Go Big and Go Home show, I'm super just interested in how you've been able to go big, in your business, but also still, keep your relationships important, in your life. And so, what's kind of been your secret in that way to make sure that you're doing both?
Definitely. I think something my husband and I have always focused on and been really good at before all of this happened, and now we're actually seeing it even more, is two things: communication and also commitment. Is like when we're together and let's say we're doing like a puzzle, because now we're doing puzzles because we're in quarantine and we never did puzzles before. We're going to like fully do that puzzle, and we're going to get like an 1,000-piece puzzle, and we're going to fully commit to that puzzle time, and we're going to put our phones away, and we're going to be in that puzzle. But then also when we're working, like between the hours of like 8 and 5 every weekday, we have been like fully committed to working and doing things that involve working and whatever that is. But maybe there's like 30 minutes that we commit to separately doing our own like workouts, our own. So it's just like 100% being present with whatever you're choosing. And I'm not a mother yet. I hope to be very soon, but I feel like there is definitely something I value when I've observed parents, which is they love to see their parents happy and doing things. And also, if you can fully give them their energy, even like 15 minutes of full attention to your child, what I've noticed working with so many families and kids, 15 minutes of phone away, fully playing, in a way is better than, like hours of kind of half being there.
Sure.
So it's like when you're there, fully be there. And when you can't fully communicate that you're doing something else, so it keeps that flow going, and the love is very clear.
Yeah.
So I think commitment and communication.
Cool. I love that. That's so good. And yeah, I definitely agree with what you said. And, really when we focus on things that we really care about, like it is so much more powerful when it's like, okay, I'm seriously going to commit to do this. I'm big on mindset too. And I know that, there's things we can do to really prep ourselves for, oh, hey, like we're going to have dinner. So like, let me like, before I get there, like, let's like, how do I want this to go? And if you have some sort of goal in mind, it can really change the way that things play out. So.
Yeah, it's like intention. And also with improv, it's all about being in the moment as well. So I feel like a lot of that can be, again, played right now, that yes-anding. Mm-hmm. Like when you're with your child, I love just being with like I was with my nieces not too long ago, and they just were rambling, talking, playing. And I just tried to yes-and and bring out everything they were saying, add to it. So they felt very heard. And it was about 30 minutes of straight playing, and they were good. Like they were shocked. They were just like, oh my gosh, that was just so much, and so it's a quality over quantity sometimes, right? It's very interesting.
Yeah. No, it's so cool. I love that. So, hey, it's Dustin, and I hope you got a lot of value out of this episode. And I also hope that you're already subscribed. If not, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe, rate, and review. That'll make sure that you get this content as soon as it comes out. And also make sure to share with your friends and family so that they can go big and go home just like you.